part of Trek is dividing into families, and it was a unique experience where we create little groups of people with a mom and a dad and 5 to 6 children, and we throw them together. They don't necessarily know each other. They've never been in situations where they have to work together, and they were thrust into that situation. It was remarkable to see them work through that process. It came together, and then we watched it play out, and you see the miracle happen.
The time I spent with my family while we were walking, it didn't seem like we were walking, because the entire time my ma, Ali Shack, just had these cute little questions and she would ask them. And so it made us grow as a family, and it made me realize that there's people outside of my personal family that will always be there for me no matter what happens.
Stop where you are, give your partner a swing. Swing down to the guy behind you. Swing your heart, if you have found that she's not gone, you have a man left with your corner made. Go side, now you're on. Tell me your promenade with the second parade. Sing it, oh Johnny, oh Johnny, oh Johnny.
There's people in my family I knew of them, kind of a term of relationship, and being able to talk to them, spend all that time with them in my family has created a better relationship between us that still carries on in school today.
It was amazing to have a family. It also made you feel grateful for your actual family you had outside of Trek. You realize that our whole church and everything is built around the family, and that without families we wouldn't be able to progress as well. We wouldn't be able to experience things or go through hardships as well without our family. And I bet it was the same thing for the pioneers. If they didn't have their families, it would have been a very, very rough experience. But since they had that family there, they were able to get through. It made me realize how much I do love my family and how much they do for me, and that I took that sometimes for granted, and that I was never mean to my brothers, but sometimes I can be kind of annoyed with them and just kind of push them off to the side or whatever. But I realized that it was more of an eternal perspective, that I'm gonna be with them for forever, and so I should probably start being consistently good to them.
For me, it gave me a great opportunity to be able to actually walk where some of my ancestors have walked, and it gave me great perspective. You know, we all hear the stories, but once you've actually been there and seen what they did, it gives it a lot more meaning to it. Being there, the spirit was so strong. Sometimes there's only some places where you can feel the spirit so strong, outside the temple, and that was definitely one of the places where it just testified the truth of it, and that their sacrifice was for us as well as themselves, and it was pretty neat.
When I have an experience that testifies to me that God is real, and that His promises are real, and that the things that I've learned and thought about are true, then I'm more committed. I'm more ready and willing to follow the promptings of the Spirit, to keep the commandments more faithfully, and to love others better, because that's what He's asked me to do.
My testimony grew significantly after Trek, just knowing that there are people out there that suffer every day, whether they were the pioneers or people who nowadays are going through the hardships that they're going through, that I can always rely on my Savior to be there for me.
You start to realize how much these people went through. You start realizing that the way of life that we have today is so much better and it's easier than we have today than it was in the past. And then when you get to Rock Creek Hollow and you see the people that died there for their faith, it's you ask yourself, are you willing to die for your faith?
When we did the women's poll, they had each of the women that were left in the family bring forth their strongest poller, and so I was sent forth, and then they're like, all right, they have to be in the cart, and so I had to sit in the cart while the rest of my family pulled me, and I just felt terrible the entire time. I was I add so much weight to the cart, and it was just interesting to see that, if I related this to real life, if I'm not prepared in doing the things that I should, then other people have to pull my weight, and so it isn't fair that if I'm not doing what I should, then it's put on others. And so that was really eye-opening for me.
We went to Martin's Cove on the first day, and of course we hiked up pre-Martin's Cove, and we had a little discussion, and everyone was still kind of, squirrely because we're getting off the bus. It's like, yes, finally, we're off the bus. But then we slowly started to quiet down the closer we got to Martin's Cove. And it was special for me because in my mind's eye, I'd look out across Martin's Cove in the little valleys, and all of a sudden, I don't know what it was, my vision would switch, and I'd see a snow-covered landscape with wagons here and there, and that was very powerful to me. That was just eye-opening.
The pioneers that sacrificed there, they were simple people responding to a call from their prophet to gather to form Zion, a peaceful, harmonious, Christ-centered community. And they came from all around the world to do that at the expense of homes, families, all that they owned. They were willing to follow. By going on trek, I can get a sense of that conversion and that devotion, and it strengthens me.
May the builders of the nation blazing trails